Since 1989, Canada's first televised motorcycle magazine has been covering everything on two wheels. We've sampled new motorcycles from around the globe, toured North America from coast to coast, and interviewed some of the most interesting people on two wheels. So get set to keep your right hand cranked as Toyota Truck presents Motorcycle Experience.
Hello, welcome to Motorcycle Experience, the voice of motorcyclists everywhere. I'm Dave Hatch, and this week we're back at Yamaha Motor Canada, where we're picking up a piece for an upcoming road test. As for our feature this week, we're going to check out BMW's all-new K1600 GTL.
Also this week, my good friend Norm Wells and I will bring you another entry in our BMW Motorrad Ultimate Riding Tour Diary. This week, we're going to ride east to the Avalon Peninsula and check out the easternmost point in North America, Cape Spear. And speaking of ultimate rides, remember last week in round one of our Ultimate Challenge series, Brian Hudgen won the slow riding competition thanks to the lifeline thrown from veteran riding instructor Clinton S.M.A.R.T. Well, this week, Brian's back for challenge number 2, the dreaded Sandpit Oval. Plus, later on, Aliki Carrion will continue her series on getting your license, while our roving reporter Paul Connert will introduce us to another loyal viewer. But first, we start the show with our Ride of the Week, BMW Motorrad Canada's all-new K1600 GTL. This is definitely one luxury touring motorcycle that has certainly raised the bar when it comes to technology and safety. In fact, recently the international press picked it as their bike of the year. At the heart of this beauty is a brand new from the ground up, totally advanced fuel-injected inline 6-cylinder engine mounted across the frame. And that's just for starters, because once you get past the big touring bits, such as the fully integrated luggage system and power-adjustable windscreen, you also notice high-tech advancements, such as the adaptive xenon headlight that swivels and tilts with the motion of the bike, and the new multi-controller on the left-hand grip for the bike's onboard computer that functions much like the iDrive controller found in BMW's high-end autos. That controller will allow you to customize your GTL's power delivery by selecting one of 3 programmable engine maps: rain, road, and dynamic. As well, you can tweak or dial in the front and rear suspension damping rates, from sport to normal to comfort. You can even fine-tune the ride for 1-up or 2-up touring, with or without luggage. Very nice indeed. Certainly the K1600 GTL looks the business. But how does she handle the tough job of eating up the tarmac at speed? Well, to answer that question this week, we've engaged the services of a Canada Safety Council instructor and lifetime Goldwing owner, Ken Edick.
So Ken, I was curious just to get your first impression. I mean, you've had so many Goldwings and you're a die-hard Goldwing rider, I know that. What was your first impression when you walked up to the motorcycle this morning?
It's just the BMW line, the flow of it is much more flowing than the wing, and I just love that look that BMW's had over a number of their bikes. Right.
So you threw a leg over, you fired it up. What did you think of the motor?
The engine, I mean, as much as it's a 6-cylinder like the wing, this is a 6-cylinder that surpasses the smoothness and the quietness. I had to do a double look at the tachometer, make sure it was running.
Yeah, I know when I fired it up, I thought, did I start this?
Yeah.
So, okay, it's smooth, but as you rode it, give me some of the impressions you get from the engine.
I guess the number one was the throatiness is heard by others, but not by the rider, which in a long tour, that's what you want. You want quiet, but you know that the power is there, and you could feel it right from the start. The transmission is faultless, and the power, the way it just builds, is incredible all through all gears.
Lots of torque?
Oh, way more torque than I was expecting, yeah.
Yeah. So it runs and it runs smoothly, quietly. What about stopping power?
Typical, some awesome braking, and it's linked braking. More and more bikes are getting into that, certainly in the touring aspect, and it hauls down real quick without significant nosedive. Yeah, really, really secure brakes. And I guess just ergonomically, the seating position, there was really good support for the driver back in here, and there was a natural reach to the handlebars. It was not too far out, not tucked in, but yet it still gave you that sport feeling.
Right. Saddle was comfortable. How did you find that?
I was very impressed with it, yeah, and it allowed me enough range to move back and forth, but when I really lit it up, and that's when you could feel the power come on, nice butt stop right there that you weren't going any further, because it really comes alive when you give it the power.
Now, how did you find the cockpit and the hand controls? There's obviously a lot going on nowadays up here in terms of being able to use the computer and everything else. How did you find the controls?
They were rather intuitive without a lot of thought to it. They naturally feel that you don't have to take your hands off the handlebar to accommodate a lot of the information that it's trying to tell you. A lot of the electronic circuitry about how the ride changes, how you want the power delivered versus dry roads, a little bit of loose roads or rain, can all be done without taking your hands off the handlebar. And that's really big because that focus has to be out there on the open road.
Right, and so did you like the thumb wheel as far as it being able to sort of adjust things and select things?
Yeah, it's kind of different. You know, like I say, it's very, very handy to have it there without having to take your eye off it. It's a natural reach to it. The only thing it does make is your standard control now to the turn indicator or the horn is just that much farther along. But again, it's still in the base position. And a big thing as far as the BMWs that I've ridden of late, they've now standardized the one button for the turn indicator left and right. So I found that really easy to adapt to.
Did you adjust the windscreen at all?
Yeah, it travels quite the range, and I'm 6-foot rider. When I had it in the full position, I was looking a good 5 or 6 inches down into the screen, so a lot of deflection that I would typically probably only use on a very windy day, and the optics were very, very clear. I didn't find any distortion that would bother me. However, once I got into the back roads where you want to have fun with this machine and it really starts to prove itself, I wanted to put the windshield down, and it gave me a full open view with a nice cockpit of still air.
It's designed for touring. You need the luggage. Did you have a poke around in the luggage? What did you think?
Yeah, there's good luggage capacity. They're a little convoluted first time around for how to work the latches. And one of the big things that I know about this bike that the Goldwing doesn't have is all the luggage is detachable by key. Which allows you to take it into your motel at night. A lot of people still want that kind of security. Right. It also allows you to strip down the unnecessary parts if you really want to go sport riding in the back roads without this additional luggage on there at all.
So 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down, what would you think?
Oh, definitely 2 thumbs up for a straight new approach to the touring market. I think BMW has really done their homework. I think really they've opened up a whole new category. I don't know what the word actually means, but Uber Sport Luxury Touring. I think they've nailed it.
Nice job, Ken.
Thank you, Dave.
Hope you enjoy the ride home.
You bet.
Thanks again, Ken. Great job. Now don't touch that remote. There's still plenty more experience still ahead. Next, we head down east to visit the oldest surviving lighthouse on the Rock. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Honda, BMW Motorrad, Closed captioning of this program is provided by Motovan.
Okay, Aaron Giver. Welcome back as Total Truck presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and it's time now for this week's ultimate ride. Yep, we're back on the Rock, and we're heading out to Cape Spear.
All right, so as you know, last week Norm and I kicked off yet another ultimate ride when we touched down in St. John's, Newfoundland. Our first night was spent checking out the Targa Rally, and grabbing a few Z's at the Quality Hotel located right on the harbor in downtown St. John's. And then, on the official day one of our adventure, Norm's Aunt Millie and Uncle Max insisted that we drop over for a traditional breakfast of fish and brews. With full bellies, we blasted up the Signal Hill and then headed further east on Route 11 to check out the oldest lighthouse in Newfoundland.
Well, Norm, a couple years back, we made it all the way out to the far western edge of Vancouver Island. I think we went about as far west in Canada as you can go. And I'm proud to say here we are at Cape Spear. We've made it as far east. This is great.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic morning out here, and you know, the ride down to Conception Bay to get here was a bit of a detour, but it was still kind of cool to get down there. But
yeah,
no, it's been a great morning so far.
Absolutely. We started at your aunt's place, and we had a bit of breakfast there, and it was great, and saw the family, and then of course you said we got to go to Signal Hill, so that was well worth the stop.
Yeah, that's a very important part of the St. John's area. Obviously, it guards the mouth of the harbor, but also is where all the ships would get signals from, and that's why it's actually called Signal Hill, not because of Marconi's first transatlantic message that was sent in the 1900s, but it's been a signal post since like the late 1700s, early 1800s. So
right.
A very historical piece of land up there, and you know, beautiful views.
Yeah. The scenery there is spectacular. It's definitely worth stopping there. And then as we rode around here to Cape Spear, surprise, surprise, we can actually see the Signal Hill from here.
Exactly. And we were standing there looking over here. I never thought this was Cape Spear because I thought it was further down, but it's very close to St. John's, funny enough.
Yeah.
It was about a 25-minute ride in.
Yeah, it's not all that far. It's definitely worth checking out. And again, this is spectacular, and I understand a lot of icebergs, a lot of whales during the summer.
Yeah, it's a migratory route for whales and icebergs. You know, I think it's June, July, you see the icebergs. I think we're past that season, but maybe with a pair of binoculars you might be able to see Europe or Africa over there, because that's how far east we are.
Definitely one note, it's windy. When we were out there on the roads today, we were compensating all the time, and we're standing here because we're trying to get out of the wind, and so that's the one note. So far on the trip, lots of wind.
Yeah, be prepared.
So where are we going from here?
We're going to head down to Maddox Cove, and that's a very picturesque, typical Newfoundland type looking town, and maybe grab some lunch down there, and then after that we'll head to Clarenville for our evening stop and get ready for tomorrow's adventure.
Okay, well, so far so good. This has been one ultimate ride.
Sure has.
Now, if you decide to visit Cape Spear, see if you can get out there sometime between May and August, because the whale watching here at that time is prime. Newfoundland is known as one of the most spectacular whale watching sites in the world. We're talking over 20 species of whales, including one of the world's largest population of humpbacks. If you hit the right window, you could possibly watch the whales feed on krill and squid from the saddle of your motorcycle. Or better yet, the gun battery. Be sure to leave your motorcycle and take the walk down to the gun battery, located just a short walk from the lighthouse. It was installed during World War II to protect the entrance to St. John's Harbor from possible attack from German submarines. As for next week, we're off to the site of one of the oldest European settlements in North America, Petty Harbor in Maddox Cove, nestled deep in the heart of Motion Bay. Folks have been calling this area home going back to at least 1598. Today it's home to Chafe's Landing and Seafood Eatery. And let me tell you, they make one heck of a moose burger. Still ahead, we get down and dirty as Brian Hudgen tackles challenge number 2. And Aliki Carrion goes back to school. Stay with us.
Welcome back as Toyota Truck presents the experience. We've got to hustle now because it's starting to rain, but it's time now for the learning curve with Aliki Carrion.
Last week, we sent Aliki back to the same school where she learned to ride some 13 years ago. This is a Ministry of Transport approved rider training school. pretty much like dozens of others held every weekend throughout the summer in vacant parking lots all across Canada. While attending the Learning Curves motorcycle riding school in Toronto, Aliki brushed up on her slow riding skills alongside a gaggle of newbie riders. On this day, the chilly, threatening gray sky failed to dampen the spirits of the students who appeared to be of all ages, from all walks of life. In the case of the father and son team of Sandy and Alex Norton, Sandy the son was excitedly looking forward to earning both his license and purchasing a motorcycle, while his father Alex was along for the sheer joy of learning something new alongside his son. But as you're about to hear, Alex also discovered another interesting benefit that comes from learning to ride a motorcycle, and it has to do with four wheels.
So are you looking to receive your license from this course?
Oh, that's the hope, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily going to use it, but once I set out to start a course, you always want to pass.
Do you think this will make you a better car driver?
I think that it will give me a greater awareness of motorcycles on the road when I'm driving. I've done a couple of high-performance driving schools, which really do make you a better driver. The concepts are very much the same. The idea of being aware around you, knowing what's happening in front of you, behind you, beside you, at all times. All of those things are really good skills. This reinforces the ones I've already learned, but it will help me or make me appreciate better the issues that motorcyclists have as against drivers. And it also gives you some really good, it gives you the safety ideas of riding the motorcycle defensively as opposed to offensively.
So now that you've taken this course, is there anything that you would recommend to the viewers to prepare for the course?
The one thing that we did this morning that was much more difficult than I thought it would be is riding the thing at slow speed and balancing on a bicycle at slow speed as opposed to at much higher speed would be a really good skill to refresh if you didn't have it already. So that's as a start anyway. The slow speed maneuvering on a bicycle translates really well to the slow speed maneuvering on a motorcycle.
Would you recommend this course as a good bonding experience for father or son?
Oh, I think it's a lot of fun, sure. And I don't see him that much these days, so anytime with him is good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And would you recommend it to anybody just to come out and learn how to ride as a fun thing to do on the weekend?
I think it's a really good skill to acquire. Any sport with balance involved in it is one I'm trying to perfect. So, yeah, and my plan isn't to buy a motorcycle. Theoretically, it might change, but it's the idea of learning anything is a good experience. So yeah, sure, I'd recommend it to anybody.
Great job, Aliki. Now, you may recall that a couple of years ago, Motorcycle Experience toured the north shore of the St. Lawrence, from Kingston to Quebec City, and visited more than a few forts and historic 1812 battlefield sites along the way. So, in honor of the upcoming War of 1812 bicentennial this summer, we've put together a brand new Riders Club contest, the 1812 Riders Club contest to be exact. All you have to do is visit the motorcycleexperience.ca website and join our email Riders Club. If you're already a Motorcycle Experience Riders Club member, then just reconfirm your email address. And that's it. You've entered. On June 3rd, just days before the 200th anniversary of the start of the war, we'll pick our winner. This year's prize is an exclusive MV Augusta prize pack, including a limited edition hardcover book and helmet. Good luck, everyone. Next, Brian Hudgen hits the dusty trail. Portions of Motorcycle Experience are brought to you in part by Honda, BMW Motorrad, Welcome back as Toyota Truck presents The Experience. I'm Dave Hatch, and a couple of weeks ago, Brian Hudgen and I kicked off a series of 6 challenges designed to put Brian's riding skills to the ultimate test. In round 1 of our competition, held at the Horseshoe Riding Adventure facility just north of Barrie, Ontario, Brian completed the slow pylon cruiser ride in the allotted time to win. However, he did get a little help from a friend, one of the best riding instructors in the country, Clinton S.M.A.R.T. This week, it's time for round 2 in our competition, and we're back at the sand pit with a brand new competition. We've dubbed this one the Quarter Mile.
Well, Brian, on behalf of Clinton S.M.A.R.T., welcome back. This is challenge number 2. So, question, what would you say is a street rider's probably biggest challenge?
Sand and gravel.
Absolutely. Everybody has that phobia, right? We're talking about cottage roads and construction zones. We call this the quarter mile, and as you can see, it's very extreme, very sandy.
That's real, it's deep sand there.
Yeah, so the challenge today, all you have to do is ride one circuit, one loop, without dabbing your feet or stopping. If you do that, you've won the challenge. Are you up for it?
I can do anything, Dave.
Okay, anytime you're ready. Whoa, whoa. A little bit of motocross there. This will be interesting. Okay. Yeah, the hill looks tough. Whoa, was the feet down there? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Okay, that wasn't perfect. I think we need some help from Clinton here.
I could use it, that sand's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Now that was definitely a fail. However, as always, next week we'll give Brian another shot at the quarter mile after he gets a few sand riding tips from Clinton. Valuable tips all street riders could benefit from.
Well, that's it for this week's program, folks. We're all the time. We're just waiting for Aaron to get us some more tie downs. Anyway, we leave you now with our roving reporter, Paul Connors. This week he's out in Campbellville. He's found a very nice old Katana. So until next week, keep your feet on the pegs and your right hand cranked. Bye for now.
Hi, Dave. It's Sunday morning, and we get to ride motorcycles. John, tell us about your motorcycle.
This was an old 83 Suzuki Katana that I've updated a little bit. It was a barn find back in 89, 90. I spent a year putting it together, and this is where we are today.
I noticed you got some upside down forks in the front. Where did they come from, and how did you have to make any modifications to put them on?
Yeah, there was a few changes. That is off a Yamaha R1. It's made a big difference on the steering. Changed a few things, bigger tires and wheels off a GSX. The swing arm's been beefed up a little, and it's been fun.
Why an older motorcycle? Why would you buy a new modern motorcycle?
I like the character of the old bikes. They're a little different. You don't see them around quite as much.
What brings you to the ice house on this warm Sunday morning?
I heard about the attraction here. This is a fun place to stop by and talk to a bunch of the guys about bikes and look at all the other stuff around.
Well, you got a nice bike here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out.
Thank you.